Right, this is for all the defense aspirants. This is Hartaj in front of you. What I've done is in the series right now, I'll be adding all the current affairs, part 1 to part 5. There'll be 5 to 6 series which would be added. What am I doing in this? I'm adding every current affair that has been asked from 2024, 25, 23. On the basis of that, I'm making current affairs for you. I'm repeating again. From this series, everything or majority of your questions in the paper are bound to come. What is being covered in this lecture, that's the first lecture for you. It will be related to COP, what is there. Similarly, all the questions related to COP which have come, and all the basic questions related to minerals and rare earth metals which have been coming recently in the paper. Continuing with the further series, please make sure that you keep on looking at the series which will be provided to you. It is bound to come in your paper. Please again, I request you, take your time. It will be one hour every day that will be posted for you so that you can enjoy it. And while passing by or something also you can do it. So without taking much time, let me start with the questions and the basics. It's a coalition of nations to form stable, sustainable, and responsible critical mineral supply. What is MSP? Mineral Security Partnership. Stability for minerals. कौन से minerals हैं? 30 rare earth minerals हैं जो बात करते हैं. It's a US and like-minded countries, because if mineral supply gets cut, automatically what happens? Everything becomes expensive. So what are the words for it? Stable, sustainable, responsible. SSR. For mineral supply chains. India officially joined in June 2023. India joined in which year? June 2023. That's the next thing. MSP, Mineral Supply Reliable. India consists of 30. India has listed its own, हम अपने legislation में 30 rare earth minerals और 30 minerals को list किया as critical. इसमें gold है, silver है, copper है, ये सब है. Plus क्या है? Rare earth minerals. Elements of rare earth group, several individual. How many rare earth are there? We'll also discuss that. Plus, we've also added atomic. Earlier, atomic or iske liye, what we did was we made an amendment in which year? We made an amendment in the Mines Act in 2023, in which we added that atomic minerals can also be mined by private companies. 100% FDI route कर दिया. Because जब तक mineral नहीं निकलेगा, we cannot have use of resources. A very good example now, India is getting in collaboration with a lot of countries. We came to know after so many years how to extract what? Oil. So many years. Now we're finding oil everywhere. The earlier oil reserve was found where? Krishna Godavari. Now the oil reserve is found in Andaman and so we continuously are finding oil reserves. The size of a country like Guyana, we have oil reserve like that bigger size. So now we're finding it more and more. Now, since there are a number of minerals which we do not know how to refine, we said, okay, 100% FDI route is allowed for the same. So what is allowed? 100% FDI route. Is it clear? Now, when I say amendments, let's see, atomic minerals are removed, centralized auctions. Auctions were initially, they are going through the central government. Auctions are going to go through the central government and exploration licenses, whereby ELs introduced licenses for deep-seated and critical minerals will be allowed. Clear or not? So let's revise it. What's the mineral supply group? India became a part in which year? June 2023. Second of all, what is the case for sustainable, stable, and responsible? This India has how many listed minerals right now? Critical 30, out of which one group itself is all rare earth, one group itself is all atomic. Did we do amendment to the Mineral Act? We added which minerals? Atomic. We also added which other minerals? Rare earth metals. We also added all them, so which initially were not to be taken. Any doubts with this or not? Okay. Can we move ahead? What is given? Atomic minerals removal, centralized auction. Who is going to do it? The central government. Exploration licenses. ये सब हो जाएगा. Okay. 30 critical minerals, domestic gaps, 2023 MMDRA summits that we discussed. Now we come to this was the question. India has joined the Mineral Security Partnership as a member. Yes. India is a resource-rich country. And all 30 minerals are there? No. We don't have all 30. We are resource-rich, but not all 30 minerals are there. Has empowered central government to exclusive auction license? Yes. So what statements are correct? 1 and 3. We came to know. Okay. Now we come to turmeric. How many varieties of turmeric do we have in India? 30. How many types do we have? 30. India is the largest producer of turmeric. Haldi. Haldi ke basic purposes kya hote hain? Anti-inflammatory, antioxidants. What else? It's used for food. Is it clear? That is the purpose. Uses food. What else? Skin, cosmetics. Is it clear? Skin care, cosmetics and textile dye. India is the largest producer of turmeric, also the largest exporter also of turmeric. Which state produces the turmeric maximum? Telangana. Say which two districts? Nizamabad. Is it clear? And Nirmal are the two districts. Then Maharashtra, then Karnataka. Just remember this. Turmeric, which country is largest producer? India. We are the largest producers of turmeric. Is it clear? Next, what we have 30 varieties. We have also had GI tag, like Alleppey turmeric in Kerala is GI tag. We've started doing it. So there are a number of ways. India is what is the position? Largest producer, 75%, 62% of the global turmeric trade, exported to over 50 countries. Which country do we export maximum to? US, then Bangladesh, then UAE. These are the things. Variety, how many varieties do we have? 30. It depends upon content, color, taste, and this. 30 types of turmeric. Is it clear? Major turmeric producing states: Telangana, Maharashtra, Karnataka. Exports markets: US, Bangladesh, UAE. Government initiatives, you already know. What is the purpose of turmeric? Anti-inflammatory. If you have, suppose you get hit by something, so the bolte na ki doodh pee lo haldi wala. So anti-inflammation. Next, antioxidant, boost immunity, used in COVID era supplements. Similarly, India mein kahan pe Alleppey, finger turmeric, these are GI tagged. GI means only found there. They are the best types. That is it. 30 varieties have grown across 20 states. Major producers are Telangana, Maharashtra, and Karnataka. This was the question for the same. India is the largest producer. This is all CSC. Civil Services 2020. To cover up all the UPSC papers. Every UPSC paper, somewhere or other, this comes in through. India is the largest producer and exporter of turmeric. Yes or no? More than 330 varieties. Yes. Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu are major producing states. Yes, that's the question. Now we come to COP. Oh, before we start with, write down notes for COP 21. What was COP 21? Paris Agreement. Of course, if it's just called Paris Agreement, where was it signed? In Paris. Now look at the points for the Paris Agreement. What was said? The temperature, global temperatures would be kept below 2 degrees, viably between 1.5. Secondly, Article 4 talked about NDCs. What is NDCs? A goal set by country by which they will reduce by so much. Like, say, for example, that is what we Article 4. What is Article 6.2, 6.4, and 6.8? There are 3 articles. What was 6.2? Carbon trading. अगर कोई देश हम किसी और country में जाके we can set up plants. That's way we can increase our carbon in production for the time being. If we are setting up green energy somewhere. 6.4 is giving technology. Third is using the resources of what? किसको resource करना है? Private players. Is it recently? A very good example is using private players. Similarly, India is now shifting to a lot of private players in defense also. Which drone of Israel is manufactured by India? Which drone? Recently in news.
So Heron.
Heron is used by Israel. Who manufactures it?
DRDO. Oh, sorry, HL.
Adani. Adani Defense. So they manufacture it. So India is now getting into space and everything. So COP21 was this, the Paris Agreement, which said, okay, we will reduce the greenhouse gases in such that we are able to reduce the temperature not more than, we will not increase the temperature more than 2. With 2 also we see a lot of effects coming in. Now you see untimely rains are there. You see there are so much of cloud bursts happening somewhere or other. There've been times where like 3 years back, this side of we received no rain. And then suddenly one day the rain came, it broke all records. So there's more flooding, more everything that has started changing. So that is because of all climate. Okay. So COP, now we will discuss the recent ones which are there. COP26 was in Glasgow, keeping 1.5 degrees alive, urgent cuts and net zero targets. What is the net zero target for India? Which year? 2017. To remember it, we did ICU 70, 60, 50, 50. India says that we will reach net zero by 2070. There are certain villages, like the first village was in Kerala, which received net zero. So they planted a lot of trees. They also went to solar and everything. The second one was in Jammu, which they did all green energy. China says by which year? Whereas US and European Union by what time? 50. Is it clear or not? Now COP27 is where it took place, Egypt. Implementation and adaptation, loss and damage was introduced. What is loss and damage? Let's understand it. Because of climate change, a lot of, is this considered the most vulnerable countries were affected or the island nations were affected? Vulnerable means jo garib desh hai, they could not do anything. So they lost a lot of crop infrastructure and everything. They said, we are going to pay for it. All which countries are going to pay for it voluntarily? The rich countries, for the poor, unfortunate countries. This is a mission that was taken. 2028, it was held in Dubai. Climate change and fossil phase out. Now here there was a term which India had a problem with. What in 27 they said, what is fossil? Fossil phase out was only said for coal. This is a problem that India had. India said, why is only coal being talked as fossil? But now in 28 there was fossil phase out where oil, coal and gas was talked about. Global stock take, that was in COP21, which said after every 5 years we will see how much of carbon are you producing. So the same thing, this is global stock take that was picked up in which year? 2028. Transition word was introduced for fossil use. Write short notes quickly, keep on writing it. Transition word was added. It's going to be there in the notes. Not revise all the time in the notes. You have to make shorter ones. Is it clear? Transition was avoided. And yes.
So could you please repeat NDC once?
NDCs are goals set by every nation. Every nation has been setting a goal in COP21. They said, what to do, we will reduce by so much. This much thing. Like say, for example, India said, okay, by 2030, we will peak our carbon emissions, but we will also we will reduce from 45% carbon emission from 2005. That was the target that they set. So each country is talking about a target which is setting. In 2000 COP28, 2 things were discussed which were disagreed by India. What is the first one? In medicine or health, having net zero target, and second is for food. Is that clear? What is food? Because we said vaccines cannot be preserved. We require carbon energy. That is, we require diesel, everything. Similarly, our food requirements, what do we require? We require diesel and everything. So it is very clear in India, agriculture has to change, especially in North India, agriculture has to change because we cannot sustain the goals that we are saying because agriculture will keep on doing. Is it clear or not? Similarly, for initially, for some time, the government of India also said, okay, there'll be no, what do you call it? For your e-vehicles, we will not charge you 18%. Jo wo hota hai, GST will not be there. We will not charge you, sorry, GST would be charged, but that was not charged. Your registration certificate, ke liye jo paise lagte hain, that was not charged. But now they started again. So there are certain facilities which they said your parking is going to be free for e-vehicles. So that is the case. Last one is the COP29. Where was it held? Baku. What it talked about? How food, carbon markets, farmer adaptation, and they were checking whether the NDCs have been met or not. And most importantly, what is the most important thing in Baku? In damage, how much money was given? 700 million in this. Now here they're saying we will be talking about reaching around 1.3 trillion by 2025. Is it clear? By 2000? Carbon markets is when you're trading. Like when you are setting up, say for example, as India, some other country can set up huge these solar power plants. Where are the largest solar power plants? All in India. Whether solar, whether land-based, whether floating or whether aerial or on the city. So where's the largest floating power plant? Floating means on water. It's in Andhra. They put it on these solar panels. Which is the largest rooftop solar plant in India or in the world? It's next in only. It's in Beas. They put it there. No. Rooftop. 3 types of solar power plants are there. One is floating on water. That's in Andhra. The second is a rooftop. What you have on the roofs. That's in Beas. Third one is where you have in Rajasthan, which is the solar power. There are 3 different ways. They're not just one. So all 3 are in India, but of course, is way ahead in terms of the solar production even. Can we move ahead? Now, I just had to go through it. COP28, where was it held? Dubai. Now, these are the things. What is global stock take? Where commitments you said in NDCs. NDCs are what? Your targets which you have. Okay. Fossil acknowledgement, fossil fuels, which one transition word was added for which? Coal, oil, and gas. I told you in 27, we had a COP27, we had a problem because this coal. Lost and damaged fund was introduced, and how much money was added? 700 million from countries like UAE, Germany, UK, Japan, Canada, and US. Declaring energy transition, tripling nuclear capacity by which year? 2050. Nature of commitments, voluntarily, non-binding political declaration. But in COP21, there were binding commitments and there was voluntary commitments on what? NDCs. NDCs are the targets set by the country. India's role, highlighted outcomes of global stocktake to further national ambitions, hosted the Global River Alliance. Kiske? Kaunsi river? Nami Gange, where they cleaned Gange. Signed major frameworks, including the UAE Leadership Declaration. Major achievements. What are the achievements? Recognition of fossil fuels, damage fund, global stocktake completed, application of sectoral political declarations. These are the 4 things that we need to remember. What are the differences we have? Voluntary declarations. India did not become a part of health and food declaration. That's what you remember. What happened? India said, sorry, we cannot be a part because vaccines have to be stored in cold temperature. We said, sorry, we cannot. If it requires a generator, we're going to do a generator because first is the health. Second is the food because India needs to be sustainable first. Now, our population is increasing, by which year do we say that we're going to phase down? Technically, now they said our population is going to get very much stable. It is going to increase, but it is now stability. We are at 0.9 fertility rate. What does this mean? For every woman, she produces 1.9 children. It was at 2.1 something. Now it's gone to 1.9. Our fertility has like hum do hamare do. Is it clear? That has come. So India is technically supposed to push by to 2050. Danish is saying, I don't want that. Why are you smiling and looking at Gurjot? At this, why are you looking at him? Okay, everybody clear till here? These are the things. Funding shortfalls and these ones. India did not sign the health declaration, food, agriculture, and demand equitable financial press for clarity in new collective quantity. Let's now move to COP Now, this was the term for COP28. The question has come. At the 20th United Nations Climate Change Conference, India refrained from signing the Declaration of Climate and Health. Yes or no? Is binding declaration? India's health sector is decarbonized. The resilience of the healthcare system may be compromised, which is true. Because we don't have solar everywhere. We cannot provide green energy for this thing. In cities, you might have, in all the hospitals, you are seeing solar energies, especially on rooftop. So they're able to add to it. Sorry? Climate and health. First is that. Second is food alag. Is it clear? So that was wrong. That was the question itself. I told you also what is the NDCs. We said from 2005 level, we'll reduce 45% in intensity, 50%, and by net zero is which year? 2070. China says which year? European Union, 50. US. Is it clear? COP27, where it happened, I'm just revising it through because COP27 we have already done. Lost and damage fund was talked about. Global stock take and implementation was done. And fossil fuel language. What was the word for it? Phase down. Transition came in which year? 28. So 27 is not going to come. Just explaining because that was the pre-phase to 28. 27 is not going to again. I'm repeating. Transition word was added in 28. 27 was what? Phase down. Reducing. Adaptation and agriculture. So we didn't have this again. I would say no point of doing it because that's already done. Now we come to the important one. The 20 lost and damage we already discussed. What is lost and damage? क्या था कि भाई कुछ भी हो जाए, anything which has happened because of the climate conditions which have affected which countries? The vulnerable, the poor countries or underdeveloped. Is it clear? Because of rise levels, drought, glacial melting, cyclones. A dedicated global fund agreed in which year? COP27 finalized. Start kab hua? 28. Aimed at supporting poor and climate vulnerable nations. Which nations? Poor and rebuild after climate induced disasters, offset economic and non-economic losses, invest in early warning systems. That is what we have talked about, lost and damage. What is the issue? We don't know which countries would be classified as poor and everything. Okay, COP29, that's important because where was it held recently? In Baku. Okay, theme. What was the theme? Climate financial overhaul. What was the theme? New collective quantified goals. This was something was added from NDC. What was added? New collected quantified. ये चीज add कर. 1.3 trillion per year from all sources by 2035, public and private, to invest in climate change or to reduce effects of global warming. By which year? 1.3 trillion. For setting up, like for poor countries, I cannot go to Kenya and say, okay, set up solar plants. They don't have money. How would they set up? So you invest the private place. Now there's also issue. The private place for their own profits rather than looking at the economical point of view. So how do you mitigate that? Because without private investment, you cannot put so much money also. The private is going to come for a specific reason because he will like to make profits. Like in India, they offered you this. This did not work too much. If you have agricultural land, which is barren or something, you will give around 70,000 per year. That'll be given to you for making, they will use your land up solar plants. Till 15 years, you'll be given 70,000. Every year you get 10% increase. After 15 years, the plant is yours. The electricity that is produced is yours. So then you can sell it to the government because plant life is approximately 25 years. So then you can sell it to the government. The government will pay the money or do whatever. Or pay the money to you. But that is like they were investing. Same way, they are looking at different ways in which they can. It came as a project that they said, okay, to people, that you just give yourself a roof. We'll set it up. The advantage of it will reduce the electricity by how much rupees? 2 rupees. They will set it up for free. After 15 years, the project is yours. But the private players were not willing to come. So the government said, sorry, okay, we'll give you direct subsidy. So the government, that is how you want the private and the other people to work. So that is what they're saying, 1.3 trillion. Who's going to put in money? The private players. You have Adani Green, you have Vari Renewables. They are the ones who are putting in money for green energy. Is it clear? So like solar power plants, you have wind power plants and everything. So what is the plan? They're saying 1.3 trillion by 2035. Baku to Belem roadmap. Belem is where the next COP30 is going to be there. COP30 is all about which? Women and agriculture. No idea. COP29, finalized rules for international carbon credit trading under Article 6.2. We've already discussed. What is 6.2, 6.4? Carbon trading. 6.4, excess technology transfer. Unlocking markets and cost saving. Agriculture and water resilience. Launched is the Harmonia Climate Initiative. First, what do? You map a place. You find out different practices by which you can reduce the effect of gases in terms of agriculture, because agriculture accounts for how much? 1/3 of greenhouse. Green Digital Action Plan declaration to decarbonize this. MAP declaration guiding resilient low carbon urban development. No new coal was a pledge. Now that's very interesting. 25 countries said that we are not going to increase any coal. We are not going to make any new coal power plants. India says by which year? 2030. Till that we are allowed. We are still doing it. That's why during the Manmohan's government, the government suddenly had a push for coal power plant. They said as much coal. Even now, India has enough coal. Still, India imports coal. Because India is like, jitna jaldi ho sake, let's use it. Because first, make ourselves energy, what? Sufficient. We are not energy sufficient. When you were born, you used to have electricity power cuts, but it's reduced over time. Because now we're becoming energy sufficient. Okay. Indigenous, gender, and local empowerment. Three things. Local, gender, women, and local empowerment. That will be done. India's role, organize multiple side events, showcasing national campaign programs. Renewable adaptation, renewable agriculture. Major achievements were NCGQ, tripling baseline finance from US 100 billion to 300 billion a year. That's the money that will be spent for green energy. Formalized carbon market mechanism, which is under which year? 6.2, 6.4, and 6. Globally perceived as underwhelming, many countries, India, reject NCGQ as paltry and too little. Process fair objects to rushed approval and marginalized dissent voices, so and so. This is the case of COP, which 29. Now, what was important is the Baku Harmonia Climate Initiative. I told you map of the landscape. Then what do? Best practices. First, what do? Mapping. Then what do we find? What is done here? What can be done to reduce the greenhouse gases? Facilitate public-private finance. Similarly, what we are doing is crop burning. That will be under big, soon it will be under a lot of fines, big fines. So for that, right now, government is doing what? For stopping parali burning, just in general case. What is the government doing for reducing parali burning? India has the biggest 2G ethanol plant set up where? SR. So they take machines, parali is bundled up together, put in together, and ethanol is made. Ethanol is used in your fuels now. जितने भी हमारे पेट्रोल डीजल है उसमें क्या यूज किया जाता है? इथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग होता है. Because it has a higher calorific value, it is increasing the value of the fuel, and we are going to be less dependent on countries outside. तो हमें फ्यूल की जरूरत बाहर की कंट्री से ना पड़े. Okay. Now focus on small landholders, especially women, and this is the case. Unveiled. Now November 19th was called for Food, Agriculture, Water Day. November 19th was declared as Food, Agriculture, and Water Day. Keep on writing it. November 19th, Food, Agriculture, for short terms. internationally. Hosted as a part of FAST. Sorry? Food, Agriculture and Water Day. Hosted as a part of FAST, Food and Agriculture for Sustainable Transformation. Is it clear? This is the case. Why is the problem? Why for agriculture? 1/3 of the global greenhouse gases are from agriculture. Harmonizing efforts, like a very good example. New Zealand, maximum greenhouse gases are produced by cows and sheep. So what they started doing is they started working on their feed. What should be given to them so that when they fart, they actually take out a lot of methane. So how can you reduce methane for animal husbandry? Imagine. So that's what they started doing because that's the case of it. Duplication leverages synergies and ensures collective impact. Address themes like food security, soil health, water resilience, and biodiversity, mental health, and so this is the case of it. We did Harmonia. How farmers are generally committing suicides and everything. We're talking about those. Now we talked about Paris Agreement. Why is this important? Because everything comes under 6.2 and 6. Article 4. Paris Agreement was signed with COP21. It is the only one which was legally binding on climate change. But the NDC goals that every country set up, they were not binding. What was the first discussed? Temperatures to be below 2 degrees. Reach global peaking of greenhouse gas emissions as possible, as early as possible. Provide financial support, promote climate resilience and low greenhouse. What is the 4 things that we discussed? Temperatures below 2. Reach global peaking greenhouse gas emissions as soon as possible. Like China says, India says 2030. That is till the time will peak. After that will come. Because we require energy first. India is a developing country with that time. Is it clear? We did not have electricity. So to tell any country, like a poor country, that no, you cannot use coal, that will be wrong. Because the countries have been using it. So they had to be equitable. So we said, okay, till 2030, we're going to use coal as much as possible. Because we have to peak. To reach a time. This is the case. India is peaking in terms of coal and everything. But at the same time, we are doing very big in terms of solar and all the energies. But there's a big but. We're still not able to reach the targets. We are talking about now, we are going into, which is the next thing the government discussed about mostly. They are changing the laws for which? Nuclear energy. There's a big debate about it. Generally, our law says that any supplier of nuclear energy he'd be responsible for any disaster. So the Americans say, sorry, we don't want that to be a part of it. Contribute to a fund, but we don't want to be charged for any disaster which happens. So India is making an amendment to it. Now the point is, without nuclear energy, we cannot reach our targets also. So there's a twin-edged sword on which we are moving. I'll discuss this. What are goals of Paris Agreement? Simple. Second, jitna jaldi ho sake peaking kar lo. That's why हमारा target किया 2030. China is also saying 2030. After that, what is the target by which becomes 0? 2070. China 60. US and European Union 2050. Provide financial and technical, promote climate resilience, and this is the most one. COP21 is the only one which is legally binding. Okay. Post 2020 framework, key successor to Kyoto Protocol. NDCs are self-determined, no international. Is it legally binding? Yes, but NDCs are not enforceable. How many parties? 25 countries submitted their NDCs. What is nationally determined contributions? Enforceable, that you said this. Legally binding are certain targets which you've set. Legally bindings are saying that we will not do more than this. Is it clear? If you break that, then it's it. What is Article 4? NDCs. I told you. Article 4 kya? Every country has set a target. So India says by which year we'll peak? 30. After that, we'll start reducing. Is it clear? So 2030 solar and all these energies are going to be talked much. So that's why by 2030, expect India to push for which energy? Greenhouse reduction targets, adaptation strategy, implementation of time. Country is expected to increase ambition with each successive NDC. Of course, 2030 come to 2028. That's the case. Differential responsibility. Developed nations should take the lead. Every country must report progress via transparent. Carbon markets, I've told you 6.2 is carbon trading. 6.4 is support, like a reboot of clean development and integrity on the double counting rules. Non-market approach, where you're putting the private players. Just remember this. Article 6, lower cost of emission via global trade. Insensitize green projects in developing countries. Promotes transparency, accountability, and sustainable. These are COP 21. Now we discuss this. There's a question. Article 6 of the Paris Agreement of Climate Change is frequently discussed in global discussion on sustainable development change. Yes or no? Article 6 of Paris Agreement, climate change, sets out the principles of carbon markets. Yes, 6.2, 6.4, 6.8. Climate change intends to promote inter-country non-market strategies to reach the climate targets. That's okay, 6.4. Now we come to Finance Hub. A platform initiated to channel at least $2 billion by 2030 into nature-based solutions across the Asia-Pacific region. What is Solution Financial Hub? How much money? $2 billion by 2030 for nature-based solutions. Aims to de-risk projects like restoring mangroves and wetlands through instruments such as guarantees, blended finance, outcome-linked payments. What is Solution Finance Hub? A bond will be taken out by governments, where they say, okay, you do this. If you invest in this, it is not only going to preserve green and mangroves and the biosphere, at the same time, you'll get some returns. That's what the Solution Finance Hub is. Launching partners were Asian Development and OPEC Fund for International Development. OPEC is oil producing nations. Additionally, 1 million grant for technical assistance pipeline. What is the main goal for this? How much money? 2 billion via capital markets and private investment. What are capital markets? Through the markets itself. We're making bonds. De-risking, using financial tools to make nature-based investments bankable. Pilot and national scale NBS. What is pilot? That means you're involving the local people for the same. Knowledge and capacity building, support integration of into national development plans. What is NBS? Solution Finance. Why it matters? Asia Pacific faces enormous threats from biodiversity, loss, climate change, and ecosystem degradation up to 2/3 of GDP. Because if you talk about Bangladesh, if it has a disaster, it becomes a big problem. All the Asian countries are found with what? Surrounded with what? Water. So they'll have big problems. So you require mangroves. Similarly, what does mangroves do, by the way? They hold the soil, they help you in tsunamis, they don't let the soil be taken away. So mangroves are called also natural aquifers. Coordinated finance and technical support can significantly advance resilience in this. So now when we talk about ADB, what's Asian Development Bank? Write down small notes. Where is the headquarters? Established in which year? 1966. How many members are there? 68. 49 from Asia and the Pacific, from outside US, UK, Germany, France, and the headquarters of ADB? Manila, Philippines. Established in 1966. How many members are there? 68. 48 from Asian, 19 from outside. Which are the key members? India, China, Japan, US, Australia, Indonesia, Philippines, South Korea. They were the founding members. Is it clear? India was one of the founding members. Just remember this. They'll ask you a question related to this. Which year did it come? ADB, 1966. Where are the headquarters? Philippines. How many countries are there? 68. 49 are from Asia and Pacific. Okay, Board of Governors is the supreme body. One from each member country. How many countries are there? So one from each country. Board of has 12 members responsible for general operation and policy implementation, board of directors. President is chosen from the board of governors. President कौन choose करता है? Board of governors. What is the current president? Who is it from? Asukawa, Japan. Main objective, reducing. Now, this is the most important thing. What is the main objective of ADB? Social and economic development in Asia and the Pacific. What is the main role of ADB? Social and economic development in Asia and Pacific. First is reducing poverty, fostering inclusive and sustainable economic growth. Poverty खत्म करेंगे. Sustainable means हर किसी की growth होनी चाहिए. Third, improving environment, strengthening regional integration. There should be harmony. What are the 4 objectives of ADB? Poverty. Second, हर किसी की job. Just write down. पहला क्या? Poverty खत्म कर लो. Second क्या? Jobs, sustainable development, environment. What's the third, fourth thing that you have to do? Regional integration, brotherhood. 4 things clear. Objectives. ADB found in which year? 66. Where is it? Headquarters, Philippines. How many countries? 68. Asian Pacific. Main is for Asian Pacific. US is also, they'll ask you a question, is the US a member of it? Yes. That's what majority of the people go wrong. The big white people were supposed to help Indians or poor people. The West was supposed to help the East. Aquifers. Everybody clear with this or not? Okay, core function, lending, soft loans, grants and technical assistance to developing countries. Offers training, policy advice and knowledge sharing. Like a very good example is ADB is where loans are given. Like Bihar में कुछ वो बनाना है project ADB से आ रहा है. कोई bridge बनाना है किसी के लिए. So that's the case. Funds infrastructure, energy, transport, water, education, health and finance. Supports climate change adaptation, biodiversity and disaster reduction. Mobilizes capital to public private partnership. How many countries are there? 66. Simple है ना? What is the role? Lending किसके लिए करेगा? Soft loans. What are the 4 objectives? Second, jobs continuously. Third, environment. Fourth, brotherhood, regional. What are the key truths? Asian Development Bank, green and blue bonds, financing for climate and marine. Green is for climate. Blue is for marine. Asian Development Fund grants low interest loans to low income countries. Bihar में बहुत देते हैं लोग ADB. Ordinary capital resources loans to middle income countries. Market based interest. All the loans are given in which partnership? PPP, public private. Government को थोड़ा सा पैसा देना चाहिए, state को आएगा. Government बोलता है चलो ये है. How are the loans given? Green bonds कौन से होते हैं? Blue bonds, because it's Asia Pacific water. This lending disburse funds based on achieved outcomes. अगर आप ये बनाओगे तो और मिलेगा. Result based. If otherwise, if you don't do it, you don't get the thing. Simple. Clear or not? Now this was the question about it. Okay. Nature Solution Finance Hub for Asian Pacific, which the answer was here. Nature Solution Financial Hub for Asia and which is the country for it? Which the organization which gives the money for it? Simple. क्या याद करना है? Asia and clear. That's why I wanted you to do more of ADB rather than this also. Okay. This is something we'll just keep on revising it because I have to do World Bank and everything also. IMF. Who's the head of World Bank right now? Some Anand guy, Sardarji, US origin based. He recently was there in G7 summit also. Okay, where are the headquarters of ADB? AIB, World Bank, Washington. BRICS, Shanghai. We are going to discuss these banks. What is the role of this World Bank? Okay, simple. Asia Pacific, which bank would be there? ADB. Where the headquarters? Malaysia Fund. Philippines. जैसे क्या चीजों पे देते हैं? पहला jobs, क्या होना चाहिए? पॉवर्टी रिमूव करने के लिए. थर्ड, एनवायरमेंट. फोर्थ, रीजनल ब्रदरहुड. इज इट क्लियर? तो अगर आपको कौन से टाइप, अगर आपको टारगेट है तभी और लोन मिलेगा. सेकंड क्या है? ग्रीन एंड ब्लू बॉन्ड्स. ग्रीन बॉन्ड्स फॉर ब्लू, green. Is it clear? That is it. So the partnerships are PPP, public private. Sorry. Okay. The mnemonic to remember ADB, Asia Pacific Sustainable Development. I याद करने का एशिया देव, देव मानुष है कौन? ADB. ए से क्या याद रखोगे? एशिया पैसिफिक. एस से क्या है? सस्टेनेबल. आई से क्या हो जाएगा? इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ, सबका विकास. ए से क्या हो जाएगा? एंटी पॉवर्टी गोल्स. डी, डेवलपमेंट लोन्स, environment project vision 2030 strategy. How do we remember it? Mnemonic. एशिया का देव मानुष कौन है? ए से क्या हो गया? एशिया पैसिफिक. एस से क्या हो गया? सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ. आई से क्या हो गया? इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ. ए से क्या हो गया? एंटी पॉवर्टी. डी से क्या हो गया? डेवलपमेंट. ई से क्या हो गया? एनवायरमेंट. बी से क्या हो गया? विजन. Now we come to the different corridors also. This is 3 transport corridors I'll be explaining. International North-South Transport Corridor. The first time हम ना ईरान का इशू क्या चल रहा है, हम यहाँ से कोल मंगाते थे. This is India connecting with Iran, in Iran then connecting with Russia. The INST. The multimodal, multi means not just roads. Transport network, ship, rail and road. Multimodal है. फिर रिपीट करो, जो भी नेटवर्क होएगा वो सिंगल नहीं होता. रोड भी होएगा, शिप भी होएगा और ट्रेन में. Established to cost India, Iran, Central Asia, Europe, Russia and Russia फिर connect करता है यूरोप से. Key features: launched in 2000, agreement signed by India and Russia. What is this? India, Iran and Russia. What's the name of the corridor? INSTC. International North-South Transport Corridor. Write down the first, INSTC. Established in 2000, which countries? Iran, India and short notes. INSTC. Multimodal means what? I've already told you what is multimodal. Short notes quickly. Multimodal. What is the second thing? Second note, short note. क्या होएगा? Which country signed it? और कुछ? Launched in which year? Clear? Make it here only. India's a funding member is total 7,200 main routes. Mumbai. Mumbai में कौन सा है? Tavasya. To Bandar Abbas in Iran, Caspian Sea, then to Russia and then to Europe. Our first shipment of coal from Russia came through this. नहीं तो रशिया से अगर लेके आना हो तो ऊपर से लेके आना पड़ता है, बहुत लंबा पड़ जाता है. This reduce the time and distance and everything. First is Mumbai. Mumbai to which place? Bandar Abbas. Bandar Abbas to this. Which is Bandar Abbas? कौन से गल्फ में? Persian Gulf. Arabian Sea connects to Persian Gulf. Persian Gulf से ऊपर connect करता है. ईरान से Caspian Sea जाता है Russia. Just a photo. I think so I have a picture of this. Yes, here we go. What do we have? Mumbai. Mumbai से कहाँ पे connect किया? Bandar Abbas. This is Mumbai. Then you have Bandar Abbas. Then you have Caspian Sea. Caspian Sea to Russia. Then by road network it will send it to Europe. From Europe it will come down. This is which sea? Mediterranean Sea. Which sea is this? Caspian. What's this? Persian. ये क्या है? Horn of Africa. ये क्या है? Red Sea. जिसको नहीं पता, that's the case. फिर draw कर रहा हूँ. Any doubts? Ask me quickly. You would. I'll be doing geography in terms of this also. Mapping पे क्वेश्चन पक्का आना है. कैस्पियन सी के अंदर अराउंड कौन सी कंट्रीज हैं, मेडिटेरेनियन में कौन सी हैं, वो सब. सो इंडिया इंटरनेशनल नॉर्थ साउथ ट्रांसपोर्ट कॉरिडोर. फर्स्ट मुंबई टू Bandar Abbas to Caspian, Caspian to Russia connects it with Europe. Russia will connect with Europe. This route is already there. If I had to get coal from Russia, I had to follow this route. How much everything? Now, with the problem with Iran, the issue that is coming with Iran and everybody fighting, major issues. नहीं तो हमारे लिए तो बहुत अच्छा था ये trade corridor. It was India's answer to BRI or OBOR, One Belt One Road initiative started by. ये कौन सा सी हो गया? पर्शियन गल्फ. ये क्या है? रेड सी. ये क्या है? हॉर्न ऑफ अफ्रीका. इसको हॉर्निस करके बोलते हैं. देखो शक्ल. ये कौन सा है? Mediterranean Sea. This is what Black Sea. This is what Caspian Sea. Any doubts? Okay. International, this corridor. Clear? Remember? Okay. Strategic alternative route to the Suez Canal. Where is Suez Canal? Red Sea or Mediterranean को connect करते हैं. Boost India's trade with Central Asia, Russia, and Europe. It is counter China's One Belt One Road initiative. Counter करने के लिए. Now we come to the next one. This is also there. No. Okay. Multimodal transport network. कहाँ से है? Network this. Which are the countries? Everybody clear with this? Okay. This is the question for it. Now I'm just not doing one network. I'll be doing different networks. India is one of the founding members of INSTC. Yes or no? Which will connect what? What is the answer for you? India to Central Asia to Europe. Simple, not difficult. Now it is. We are done with this. Now we'll move on to the next one. That is India's Act East policy. There is another corridor. There are three corridors that India is making. What is Act East policy? India says that we have to depend on our neighbors. For everything, we need to act east. And also we need to counter the influence of which country? China in Asia. So whenever China is creating, China is given so many loans and everything, every country is shifting towards China. India to counter it is now saying, okay, come to us. We are going to give you all the basic things. What is India's Act East policy? Let's understand it. What is India's Act East policy? In this case, a strategic foreign policy initiated aimed at strengthening economic and security ties with Southeast and East Asia. It was earlier called East policy, which was changed to India's Act East policy. Now, what are the objectives? Important, please. This is the question which is going to come. Economic cooperation. Of course, any country would like to become friends because of money. So what is the first objective? Write down economic cooperation. Strategic and defensive ties. They require any support in terms of defense. Who's going to provide it? India. Third, cultural and people-to-people link. That is why we have what? Opening of its circuits, Buddhist circuits, and ensure connectivity to ASEAN and beyond. We also this is Southeast Asia neighborhood. Which are the Asian countries? Thailand, Myanmar, Vietnam, Indonesia. जो नीचे की हम वो बात करेंगे. East Asia, Japan, and South Korea. Now these are different. Asian countries are which one? Vietnam, Indonesia, and these. Japan and South Korea becomes East Asia. Indo-Pacific with the Quad. So if we have it towards the water side, we're able to connect with this. India's Act East policy. What are the basic objectives? Simple. Economic, defense. Why? Because Philippines are dependent on us. Vietnamese are dependent on us. Why? Why are they dependent on us? Because they also are having a big problem with China. Philippines is having. Promote cultural and people-to-people links. How are we doing it? Buddhist and all these circuits. Ensuring connectivity to ASEAN. Key partners of ASEAN कौन से हो गए? Thailand, Asia, Myanmar, ये सब. East Asia, Japan, South Korea, North Korea. Indo-Pacific, we're connecting with the Quad. What are the 4 countries in Quad? US, Japan, India, and which other country? Australia. In पैसिफिक। पैसिफिक हमारे इस साइड पे तो यूएस है। यूएस क्या बोलता है, वो कंट्रोल करना चाहता है पैसिफिक कोस्ट। It doesn't want China to grow. So what is India, US, Japan, Australia? These are the countries. Pillars of Act East policy: connectivity, trilateral highway, Kaldan project. We're going to discuss this. Indian Asian Free Trade Agreement. India Vietnam defense अभी किसके साथ हुआ है? Philippines cultural कैसे हुआ है? Buddhist circus. Now this is the trilateral highway that we have. India Thailand. If you want to go to Thailand, you can actually go by road also. This road network कौन सी मिनिस्ट्री कंट्रोल करती होगी? MOE of External Affairs. It is a project under them. So if we want to go, there's also, it's a 6-way, very brilliantly done. India has made roads in Thailand. What is the purpose? To connect it through, to have a direct connect. So if you want to go someplace, we can do it. This is India's East policy. 13-16 kilometer long highway project aiming to connect India with Southeast Asia by road. It passes through India, Myanmar, and what is the purpose of doing this? We were also doing this and then trying to connect it with which country? Bangladesh. And not Bangladesh, now the regime has changed. Myanmar is under its own issue. Okay. याद करने का तरीका, करीना कपूर क्या कहती है? मेरा तैमूर काला। याद करने का तरीका, More is just India Manipur border, Tamur Myanmar, and then Kaliba is in which place, and finally NZ मैं sorted हूँ. Just remember this. I sort Thailand, India, Myanmar, and Thailand. My Taimur is Kala, मैं sorted हूँ. बस इतना से याद रखो. Any doubts? 4 major regions. Which countries? And who maintains this corridor? MOE. Includes bridges, highways, upgradation work in Myanmar. Extension, we are looking forward to connecting in Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam in the future plans. So we have a direct road connecting. Just like China ka CPEC hai, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. We had made this road way earlier than China. Huh? मैं sort. It is viable. Now we have issues. Myanmar is under Janta government issue. There is big issues. We had done it way earlier. So right now CPEC is major thing, but we were doing it way earlier. Provides a land-based alternative to maritime route. Boosts India's Act East policy. Strengthens India's position in Indo-Pacific. Counterbalance China's BRI. Okay, now it's Act East policy in this. Foreign vision. This is infrastructure project launched in 2014, proposed in 2000. Manmohan Singh के time पे बन चुका था. Countries involved: India. Asian countries कौन सी है? Asia. What's East Asia? Japan, North Korea, South Korea. India, Myanmar, Thailand. Trade, defense, connectivity, diplomacy. We have physical road network. Strengthens India's position in Indo-Pacific, facilitates cross-border movement and trade. Of course, trade. That is the case of which IMT. This is the corridor. यहाँ पे क्या है? More, Amur, Mandalay is the capital. Then you have which? Mysore. This is the road network which has made bridges and everything that was made by India. Okay. On this Act East policy, it's a proper road. Tourists also use it. People have used this road to reach Thailand. Fuel, of course, is going to be expensive. Now we come to the next one. Third corridor, IMEC. First we did IN, International North-South Trade Corridor. Mandalay is the capital of Myanmar. क्या बात कर रहा है? Mandalay jail. बेचारे तिलक भी रह के आ गया Mandalay jail. Mandalay jail तिलक भी तो रह के आ गया. Mandalay, Myanmar में. Everybody clear with this? That's Manila, Philippines. Mandalay is different. Manila is the capital of Philippines. Manila, Minla, Manila. Is it clear? That's the case. Both Mandalay and Manila are two different. That's Manadalay. That's Manila, Philippines. IMEC, India, Middle East, European corridor. IMEC, that's the third corridor. It's very simple. Just to remember how it is happening, how India is connecting. This geopoliticals with map, you get it very simple. Geopolitics. If we talk about IMEC, it's a planned multimodal. I've already told you what's multimodal. Road, rail, and ship, water. Air, you don't say. Air cannot be used for transportation of goods. It'll be too expensive. You can send your phones and everything, but you cannot send heavy equipment. I cannot send iron ore by air. Is it clear? We cannot send all that. That can only be done by rail, road, or water. So transport of all trade works by this. The simplest cheese that if we make air technology so well, if anything is happening in Israel and Iran, we will not matter what we'll use. We'll use the aircraft. And give us the resource. Because everything is happening by shipping. या फिर किससे होता है रोड नेटवर्क या फिर किससे होता है रेल्स. इज इट क्लियर और नॉट? आपको सिंपल चीजें क्या आती है? एयरमेल क्या आता है? एयरमेल, बस मेल, नथिंग मोर. इज इट क्लियर? ओके, व्हाट इज आईमेक? इंडिया मिडिल ईस्ट यूरोपियन कॉरिडोर. किससे कनेक्ट करता है? रोड, रेल, मैरीटाइम, एनर्जी, डिजिटल लिंक्स टू एनहांस सप्लाई एंड रीजनल. Founding and significance. It was founded during the G20 summit in New Delhi. Where was it founded? G20 summit in. Signed by India, US, UAE, Saudi Arabia, European Union, France, Germany, and Italy. India, it was to counter the Chinese influence. कौन सी countries ने sign किया? First talk about India opposite poles. Center में क्या आएगा? Middle East. Middle East में क्या आएगा? Saudi and UAE. Then you have Europe. What is this? India, Middle East, European corridor, economic corridor. फिर यूरोप में कौन आ जाएगा? European Union, France, Germany, Italy. Is it clear? Simple. Which corridor? They work into that. This is European Union. No, it's not exactly work. Germany has its own money. France, these are the big countries. In G7, you don't see European Union coming as different. France, Germany, and Italy, and England come as separate. They don't come as. Is it clear? These are smaller countries. You cannot have a country of that big stature put together. Everybody clear with this? FGI. Done. Middle East, European Economic Corridor. India's done. India, US. Then you have Middle East, main two countries which are very good with us. Is very good with us. Next is Saudi. Last comes European Union. These are countries. Launched under the protection global infrastructure and investment. G7's global investment alternative to sub kiska hai? China's BRI. Whatever you say about China, China has been the only country which has dominated by itself. It has put America. It was the only country. If America put pressure, it said, "I'll put you double the pressure." And it has been able to get a deal much earlier than every other country. So China is way influential than everybody else. Eastern corridor from India to Gulf. India में कौन सा port है? मुंद्रा कहाँ पे है? Adani. True. Sorry. Another thing, they can never. Pakistan would dare not hit Gujarat. Why? Why Adani? Everything. Adani is there. Adani and all, except for Reliance. Reliance has its collaboration with Aramco. Aramco is Saudi. So it decides to hit. It is hitting Saudi's establishment. They cannot. They will never. We can light up the Karachi port any day if we feel like. They will not be able to do it. So Pakistan knows this very clearly. तो कहता है कि आजा इन गुजरात में बोल रहे बैठे थे तो कुछ तो कर, because if they hit, Saudi is going to have a problem. Who's been giving them money and everything? Saudi will create a big problem. So that side though it's safe. They're getting money from everywhere. Today FATF. So nothing is going to happen to Jamnagar. Everything these nothing is going to happen. Whatever it happens, it because Pakistan will dare not try this. Because if it does, Aramco, the money is Saudi, sorry. So that's very much knows. That's the purpose of having big collaboration. Mundra is where? Gujarat. Through port. It's a port. Bandargah. From UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Israel. Where you had important was the Abraham Accord. It was signed during the first time when the US President Trump was there. Abraham. What are Abraham religions? Everything starts from Abraham. Which three religions? That's why it's called the Brahma Accord, in which Israel was to have good relationships and trade and everything which with countries, UAE, Bahrain, Egypt, and also Saudi was almost there, but suddenly that's when the terrorist attack or the attack which happened on Israel happened. Because Palestine was like issues completely gone. That's why it happened. So Abraham Accord. Again, which countries? Israel, kyun? No, geopolitical. I'll just explain you in terms of map. I don't have a map. Oh yeah. Look, everything is very much controlled. We know this route is already there, right? Longer. So we know shorter route. We connect from Mumbai to Tapalali, which is in UAE. Then we connect to Saudi Arabia. From Saudi Arabia, the network is there, which hits which place? Israel. Israel, and here you have what? Egypt. So there are two ways of connecting, through Israel and directly through where? Place? Al-Haditha, Saudi Arabia. Haifa, Israel, which is a port which connects to the which sea? Mediterranean. And then it will connect to Pyrrhus, Greece. From Greece, we are going to connect with the entire. So I could have gone down. I just wanted to avoid. Now we are looking at routes which would not be problematic. So we connect from which place? Mumbai is also there. Which other place we connecting it from? Mundra. From Mundra to which place? Jabal Ali, UAE. UAE to which place? Saudi. From Saudi to which place? Israel, Jordan. These are countries that we have in between. Jordan we have to pass. Or either we connect directly, this is the case, and then we connect to the Mediterranean Sea. Mediterranean Sea we connect to Greece, Pyrrhus. From Pyrrhus we're going directly to Europe. So that's his alternative route. Let anything happen in Africa, we don't care. Because here, what do we have? Which country? Somalia. That's why you have pirates here. That's why you want. Is it clear? Jabal Ali, very fast network. You'll be, because ships have a certain speed, trains a faster speed. You just want to connect it through that. Is it clear or not? This is the Indian Middle East Economic Corridor. We have done this. Which countries? Launched under the Partnership of Global Infrastructure and Investment. Which partnership? Global Infrastructure and Investment. Mundra through UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Israel. Which country is there? This country in between. Because we have to connect Saudi with which country? Jordan. And then you have which country? Israel. Is it clear? Israel to which? Greece. So European Union also says, okay, then they have their own networks inside. So now instead of from Europe, otherwise, if I had to send from Europe, what do I do? I'll have to go like this, no? Mediterranean Sea के अंदर से ऐसे निकलता है ना सारा कुछ. So what it does, it reduces my time for conversion and moving around. Any doubts? Clear? Cyprus is a new because Prime Minister Modi was there. He's also given the order there. Okay. Europe participations, which one was there? France, Germany, and Italy. Which one? India, Middle East, East European corridor. That's what we call it. These are the countries. Further, they say Israel, Jordan, in future interest from Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Vietnam. IMEC is a game-changing corridor linking India to Europe via rail, port, energy, and digital. Also to set up these, what do you call it? Connectivity. So you'll have your cables, internet cables. Now, important. What's included? Port, rail, electricity, hydrogen pipelines, undersea data cables. It's just not this. High-speed connectivity and everything. So what is it? Port is there. What is there? Rail, electricity, and this. North Corridor connects with Gulf to Europe. Connects to European ports. Trieste, Marseille, where? France. Is it clear? Paragus, Tenoski via rail and sea routes. Boost trade, diversify supply chains. Don't be dependent on Suez canals. You can be using different routes. Promotes regional integration. Promotes sustainability, geopolitical strategy to kick out China out of it. It also benefits us. It also benefits US. It also benefits Europe. Which country does it not benefit? That's the purpose. So it's to counter the Chinese influence. Related networks we're talking about PGI, G7 Global Initiative, IMEC is a flagship route under this, which was the main, through this, they're making this thing, partnership for, you remember this, partnership of global infrastructure and investment. Partnership of global infrastructure and investment. How do you remember mnemonic? Which countries are saying that they want to come? Bangladesh, Myanmar, Vietnam, Thailand. We already have a route with Bangladesh. We had a corridor. We were actually trying to make a corridor from Bangladesh all the way to Manipur, so that you could just, like, say, for example, this is a country. This is Bangladesh, right? We have to do it like this. So we actually made a corridor like this, where we were making roads and raids and everything, so that we directly connected to the northeast. So now with the regime change, it's become a big problem for us. IMEC. India led Middle East at staging point, European in destination, sea connectivity and supply chains. What are the things that we're talking about? Objective, trade, sustainable. Next one, promote regional integration, diversify supply chains. What is diversify supply chains? Instead of going through the, which sea? Red Sea, we can directly bypass it. Faster networks. Next, what is it? Rail, high-speed internet connectivity, underground cables. What else is there? What else? Port, rails, underground. What else? Energy. Energy. So if I need, say for example, if I need, which country, like Saudi has a lot of oil. When oil reserve, what happens? Gas also escapes. So we can directly have a gas pipeline from there. Is it clear? So you don't have to. So there's a pipeline connected. Just like there is a pipeline Tapi. Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India. Coming from Turkmenistan. Is it clear? Support sustainability, geopolitical strategy. Is it clear? What's the corridor known as? IMEC. So we did three corridors. INST, IMT, and India. So now what my job would be, because I have to discuss this, I'll be discussing, before we start with the next topic, I'll be describing various countries and various seas, with various countries enclosing various seas. Because like, say, for example, we have here Persian Gulf. Which countries would be there in Persian Gulf? Small country, UAE is there. This is Saudi. Oil. It doesn't have oil, it has natural gas. NG. All three countries, loads of countries, this is oil and natural gas countries. Saudi sees because the targets are changing. Everybody is going towards what? Everybody shifting from oil. Shift. So that's what they're doing. Why do you think IPL auctions happened in Jeddah? So they are also trying to develop. Who's the head of Saudi? MBS. Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince. He says, okay, let's now develop in terms of what? So in earlier, no sustainable. Earlier in Saudi, music was banned. Everything, there used to be a, what do you call it? There used to be moral policing by the mullahs and all. He came to, his father was there, then his father had named some other person. It's a very interesting story. His father had named somebody else, I think it was his brother only, younger brother, the Crown Prince. This guy got really offended, then he became all powerful. He decided to arrest all his relatives. Basically, all the Saudi families are relatives. He arrested all of them. When I say arrested, did not put them in jail, but at a 7-star hotel and told them, give me all the money that you have extra. That is where I'm going to invest. And then he became the Crown Prince. He told his father, no, your brother is not going to be there. I'm going to be there. Then he started pushing towards, because they know oil cannot survive you forever. Oil is finishing after some time. People are not going to go at oil. How do you survive? So he took the model of UAE, or best is Dubai. There are UAE countries. You know this. United Arab Emirates is 7 countries, not 1 country. So the richest oil producing country in UAE. Which region? Abu Dhabi. Dubai does not have oil. Dubai had very little oil. It knew its oil was going to get halas. Dubai started working on tourism, setting up industries, setting up this. He knows this very clearly. That if I don't do this right now, after some time, we'll be back to what? The way they were. Middle East करते थे. जब ऑयल नहीं था क्या करते थे? रेगिस्तान में ऊंटों के ऊपर बैठ के ऊंटों का दूध पी के बस इधर रहते थे. Tribally, they are tribals only. So then, because of the oil, they became very powerful in this. So this would be the main condition. इससे better for that. Now, in everything in Saudi is allowed. Alcohol से लेके सब कुछ. सारी moral policing बोला डंडा मार के अंदर कर दिया. आजा. कौन है moral policing? No moral policing. Women have been given a right to drive. Everything is done. So why have they shifted? Because if they moral policing करेंगे तो economic. That is the case. Is it clear? Same for Qatar and all these countries. Qatar, the biggest problem, what was Qatar held the what? Football World Cup. उस टाइम पे इन सबकी लड़ाई होगी. यूएई कहता लड़ाई कर ली. सऊदी ने लड़ाई कर ली कतर से. भी मैच नहीं दिया. Now all 3 are like super rich. वो कहता नहीं मैं पावरफुल हूँ. उसके पीछे लड़ाई हुई थी. फिर कतर साइड पे कर दिया. अब वापस सब कुछ ठीक हो गया. सऊदी बोलता है मैं सबसे पावरफुल हूँ. यूएई वाला बोलता है मैं पावरफुल हूँ. कतर नीचे हो गया. कहते हैं चल ठीक है अब तू दोस्त बन सकता है वापस. That's how the entire world is working there. उनके उस तरीके से कर रहा है. तो जब तक हमें ये नहीं पता कौन सी कंट्री कहाँ पे है तो इश्यूज रहे. Is it clear or not? What is the corridor? India, Middle East. IMT नहीं पूछा. India, Middle East, European Economic Corridor. Who's funding it? मैंने बताया था सबसे. You'll forget it. I knew this. Who's funding it? No. Why would US do it? Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment. PGI से आगे. Done. This is the notes. अभी तो start हुआ है. This is like just at half. Then you have World Bank.